Alrighty guys, what is going up? I hope you guys are all having a great and an amazing day today. Now in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how you guys can buy Tesla stock for $30. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and overall I hope you guys learned something, because that's the biggest thing about all these videos. I'm trying to get as much educational value to you guys, and if you guys get something out of this video, I would greatly appreciate a huge thumbs up on it. So now let's jump into it, roll the intro, let's go. Bam! So you might be asking yourself, well Carter, how can I buy Tesla stock for 30 bucks? Right now it's trading for over $800. How can I buy it for $30? Well, you can, just stick with me. There are these things called ETFs, also known as exchange traded funds. What this means is you guys get a group of holdings. The holdings could be anything like stocks, bonds, commodities, pretty much anything, and they merge them together and they make it a very, very affordable ETF. So you can get companies like Tesla, you can get companies like Amazon. These companies are some of the largest companies out there, but obviously they're very expensive. So they make it hard for the small guy to get into that stock, but you have to buy it through an ETF. So here's what I would recommend doing if you guys are looking to buy Tesla stock and you don't have $800 to buy the stock. And I don't blame you, because that's kind of expensive. So here's what I would do. I would go on and I would buy in CARZ, ticker symbol CARZ. What this means is you guys get the general automobile industry, you buy it in at all. And here are some of the top holdings of stock in that ETF. With the largest holding that they have is Tesla. You get 10% of Tesla, you get around 8.6% of Honda, you guys get around 8.15% of Toyota, you get around 8.13% of Volkswagen, and then you get around 7% of General Motors, and you get around 5% of Ford. So you get all these great automobile companies. So if the general sector of the automobile company go up in value, guess what? You're making money. But if that, say, Ford goes down a little bit and Tesla's skyrocketing up, you're gonna make more of your money off Tesla. You just have to kind of judge. So I do think that this is a great ETF for people who want to invest in Tesla, but they don't have the option of going out and spending $800 per share on a Tesla stock. So here's some information that you guys really need to understand before investing in this ETF. So this ETF does have a pretty low expense ratio. The expense ratio for this ETF is 0.7%, which overall, that's really not too bad. I kind of turn my head when anything is over 1%. Anything below 1%, I do think is a fair value, because you got to look at what they're doing. They're splitting all these stocks up. You're buying into an $800 stock for $30, and they make it very affordable for the small guy. I know you guys know that Tesla does not pay a dividend, but some of the other automobile companies do. So if you guys are owning some of them, guess what? You're gonna get paid a dividend. So you get paid a dividend to hold this ETF. The dividend for this ETF is around 3.3% for the annual yield of this ETF, which honestly is pretty great, because that right there already outweighs the expense ratio, so you're already in profit. So the next thing that we're gonna go ahead and do, we're gonna go ahead and look at the ETF. We're gonna look at support, resistance, where I think a fair value for this ETF is. So let's jump into it. We'll see you in there. Alrighty guys, so we have ticker symbol CARZ. This is the ETF that does have the 10% holding of Tesla. And this is the largest holding that I was actually able to find. So this is a pretty great ETF for people who want to invest in Tesla but don't have the option of spending, $800 per share on a Tesla stock. So now the things that you guys have to look at when you guys are looking at an ETF, the very first one is the expense ratio. We already covered that, but if you guys didn't catch it, it was 0.7%, and the dividend yield for this was around 3.3. So right there, they kind of, cross each other out, and they do have a nice dividend that will outweigh that expense ratio, which is pretty nice. So you got to look at kind of what was going on before this whole pandemic happened, and you guys can see that this had this nice little beautiful uptrend. The uptrend was starting to come out, which was really nice to see. But once this whole recession hit, the stock in ETF trading at $36 went all the way down to around 19, which was an overall, pretty nasty fall. That's around 44% from peak top to peak bottom, and now it has slowly started to bounce its way back.
Now, do I think right now is a fair value for this ETF? Here's the thing. I do think getting into this stock at around 30 bucks is pretty fair. You have to look at all the holdings that they do have and what's going to happen when this whole recession is done. Do I think that this stock's going to come up to $40 or even 50 bucks in the next couple of years? I do think it can happen. I do think there's a lot of possibilities due to they have one of the largest tech automobile companies as their number one holding. So I do think that's why you're paying and getting into this ETF. And another thing too is if that, say, Ford, reannounces their dividend, I'm sure you guys will know that they have cut it in the past. So once they reannounce it, you guys are going to get that nice little dividend increase as well. But I do wish Tesla would pay a dividend, but they don't, and that's not a big deal. But I do easily see the stock or ETF going up to 40 bucks in the next year or so due to the large amount of Tesla holding. So I do think a fair buy is actually right under this 200 moving average line, because you guys got to see we are starting to come up on this nice uptrend, coming back up to old highs. So I do think once we break above this 200 moving average line, the next really resistance is all the way up here at $36. So we do have this nice little $6 window here to definitely make some profits on top of holding for a long-term play. I do think that's a great possibility.
So that is it though. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and if you guys did, make sure you guys smash the like button. We'll see you guys tomorrow in another episode. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Remember to stay happy, stay positive, and overall, stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bam!